Hello, this is Wisdom Hunter, and this is going to be a video about homebrew character creation using an Excel program that I have. And just what's happening right now with Wizards of the Coast and everybody, I want to show more homebrew because this is going to be part of where the game is going. The people are going to take control of their own games and more third-party creations and more ideas for RPGs that are similar to D&D. So this video is going to show a little bit of homebrew character creation that will give you some ideas to do your own homebrew and have fun with the game in your own way. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so here you're seeing part of the first page of my character sheet. The character sheet is actually 4 pages long, but I'm just going to show you the first page of what I do here. The other pages include personal information, inventory, feats, many other things, spells, but I just want to focus in on some of the basics, ability scores, skills, and some other things like attacks. So let's just start at the top. Up at the top, you can put the character's name. And then here, you would put the homeland, culture, wherever they're from. And then here, you want to choose a class, let's say Ranger. And then you give them a level. Let's say we want to do a 4th level Ranger. And you can already see that it's beginning to set up hit dice and hit points. And then here, for the strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, there are certain points. And for a 4th level character, they want to come to 20 points. So all 4th level characters receive the same amount of ability points. You just have to choose in here where you want to put those scores. So it's a Ranger. Let's go up to a maximum of 16, 4th level. So you can already see that we're up to 12 points. When this square here turns green, we've hit the right amount of points. Let's do a little bit more of wisdom, and let's just do a little bit of charisma. Let's go up a little bit more on the dexterity, another point on the constitution, and there we have it. 20 points. So we have our 4th level character with dexterity as the primary ability, then constitution, then wisdom, and charisma. And then in my system, the Ranger will have saving throw proficiencies in dexterity and wisdom. And we can already see that the hit point maximum is 50. And this is based on adding actually in the 14 constitution ability score into the hit points. And then I also use reserve hit points, which are like hit dice, but it's just half of the hit point maximum becomes the reserve hit points. So during a short rest, a character can use as many reserve hit points as is available. So in my homebrew, I use reserve hit points instead of hit dice. And we can already see that a 4th level character has a +2 proficiency and a +2 in expertise. And the JDC is basically a general DC that gives the level of difficulty for a certain section of the journey. And then we can see that this character has +3 in initiative, which comes from the dexterity. And then down here, we're going to be choosing skills and training. Now these red X's in here means that everything at this point in time is untrained. So everything's going to be receiving a -3 to the modifier. So you have to have some amount of training to get these modifiers up. Otherwise, with no training at all, you're going to have a -3 modifier automatically applied. So let's start adding in some skills. Let's start developing some proficiency in survival. So we'll take away the red X. And also let's give some perception. Put an X here in perception, put an X here in survival. And you can already see that there's 4 skill points. And the higher the intelligence ability score, the more skill training points a character has to buy adventuring skills and knowledge skills. Let's continue. Some animal handling, acrobatics, definitely a proficiency in acrobatics. This 3rd column over here would be expertise, definitely hardiness. Hardiness is a representation of a character's endurance. And because this Ranger has a 12 in charisma, let's go ahead and give proficiency in leadership. Now let's choose some knowledge skills. Nature, definitely nature. Let's take away that red X in medicine so that the Ranger has some ability to do some healing and some stabilization of characters in battle. Let's take away the red X in traps so that the Ranger has some ability with traps. And we'll take away the red X in navigation so that the Ranger has a good sense of direction on boats and in thick forests. Okay, so we're up to 16. We're shooting for 22, and when there's enough skill points bought, this square right here will actually automatically turn green. So we're going to take away the red X for intimidation. Stealth will actually give proficiency in stealth. So each movement up, so there's basically 4 levels of proficiency. There's untrained when it has a red X. If you delete that red X, then it becomes trained. Then when you put an X in this column for P, it becomes proficient. And then when you put an X in this column for expertise, there's expertise. And the proficiency and expertise would automatically use these values up here for proficiency and expertise. So all you have to do is just go ahead through and pick what you want. And then we'll get some training in persuasion. We'll have some proficiency in willpower. And now you see that this square has turned green. So this 4th level ranger has bought all of the skills, adventuring skills, and knowledge skills available for 22 points. So then you see the modifiers over here, and those become the modifiers for playing the game. And the AC here will be automatically calculated from the choices that you make during character creation, for strength and dexterity, and for the type of armor that you want. So down here, you can choose an armor. Let's say you want hide. You could use a shield. That would take the AC up to 16, but the ranger doesn't want a shield. So now you have an AC of 14 for the ranger. And then the last part here would be choosing a weapon. So I've broken it down into melee weapons that do bludgeoning damage, melee weapons that do piercing damage, melee weapons that do slashing damage, unarmed strike, second-hand weapons, ranged weapons for doing bludgeoning, ranged weapons for doing piercing based on strength, ranged weapons that do piercing, and finally ranged weapons that do slashing based on strength. And each class and each level will be able to get proficiency in certain levels of those types of weapons. So let's say, for example, we want to do a slashing of 12. Right here you'll see that the proficiency square does not have an X. So a 4th level ranger is not proficient with a melee weapon that does slashing damage with a D12 for damage. And the attack would be a -4 because it gets a -3 to the attack hit bonus. So if we take this down to say melee slashing of 6, now you're going to see that there's proficiency with this type of weapon. And now the attack goes up to a +1. We'll try a melee slashing with a D8 for damage. And yes, the ranger can get proficiency in that. So right now we have a +1 for the attack bonus, and a 1d8 + 0. And so this 1d8 + 0 is automatically configured from this 0 modifier on the strength because it's a melee weapon. And so you can see other weapons that were chosen here. So if we chose a ranged weapon that does bludgeoning damage based on strength, we're going to see a +5 to the attack with 1d8 + 0 because it's based on strength. And the types of weapons would be a rock, hammer, mace, or blunt objects that do a D8 damage. So you go through, pick the types of weapons you want. You got your unarmed strike, second-hand weapons here. And as you can see, it goes through pretty fast and quick just to develop the basics of your character. So you have your hit points, you have your AC, you have your ability scores, you have all of your skills, and everything corresponds to a ranger at the 4th level. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, just leave your questions down in the comments. Thank you for watching.